happy fast of the month. Yeah, fast of the month. Yeah, man. Welcome to Trace FM Fast with the Hits.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming through and of course keeping time. And I know a lot of people are definitely waiting to hear from you. So I'm going to start with a lady, Lisa Muchangi.
Yes.
Yes. So you're the head of marketing and communications at Baraza Media Lab.
Yes, I am.
You must do a very excellent job because I see what you guys do all over social, Kila Pali, and also on top of all of the work that you guys do.
Yeah.
Now this is a tough one because she'll ask for salary.
Yes. It's a perfect opportunity to be like, thank you
proper
for acknowledging.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then the voice that you just had, I don't know if this man needs an introduction. He's always like somewhere imparting information and knowledge.
Yeah.
And I've just learned something new about him today. I'll definitely mention that. But he's the executive director of Media Lab, Baraza Media Lab. And before that, he's worked at very fancy companies. And before that, he DJ'd for a month.
4 months, yes.
Wow.
I did 4 months. I tried. I trained just next to Strathmore. There was a guy who was starting up a DJ classes.
Yes.
I took the classes. It was fun, and I could not get my beats on the right, so I just gave up.
You couldn't count beats?
I could not get it for my life.
Man, I appreciate you guys spending some time and, of course, honoring our invite. Now, what we're doing is we're getting ready for the Africa Media Festival, which is going down this month on the 21st and the 22nd of Feb. Last year was very, very good.
Mad.
I actually attended, I think, 2 days or something, and I got to learn a lot, right? So for anyone who's wondering, make sure you check out Baraza Media Lab and buy your tickets in advance because this is just like a snippet of what is to come. So the whole topic that I want to touch on today. Now, there's a lot of people talking about media. You know, so many different things are changing in media, right? And I want to go and ask a very direct question. What's next in media, right? So what's next in media is very huge. There's so many facets in there. So I want to start with something that's been trending, something that's emerging, something that's got a lot of people scared. I see a lot of people say, oh, the jobs are about to be lost because AI has done this and that. Now, how do you see AI, artificial intelligence, influencing local content creation and storytelling in Africa? Now, you know, Africans are generally good storytellers.
Yeah.
You remember how, you know, the Firestone, that whole story, how it's told. Your grandparents would invite you and tell you, now, there used to be this giant called, all of those kind of stories. But how is AI affecting this?
Yeah. So my name is Maurice Otieno.
Yes.
Executive Director at Baraza Media Lab. I mean, even the name Baraza is, you know, it was a common place for storytelling.
Yes,
so we are all about storytelling ourselves. And if right now it's trending in terms of AI, in terms of the posters that you're seeing online with Poster and all these organizations trying to do posters through AI.
Yes.
Right? I think for me, AI is more of an enabler. It makes life so easier. We were just chatting earlier and I was saying, I think AI reduces and removes the mediocrity.
I like that.
You know, like if you're mediocre, you'll not kind of sustain the heat because then it can write. But what's next? What can you do? AI has written a 500-word document.
Yeah.
So as a writer, as a journalist, as a script writer, you now add more the spice, the flavor, the narrative arcs that you bring it now. You bring the emotions into it, you know.
Yes.
Which
the
AI,
human element.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which AI cannot do. Because AI is a machine, you know. It picks word, has no emotions. It picks word that the words that are online. So it has not that. It doesn't have that emotion. So I think right now for me, it's the criticality of AI is like how you prompt it, how you work with it, how do you use it to reduce your time.
Yes.
You know? Time of production will be so fast now.
But you know, it goes back to the very simple fact, right? A lot of people have gone to school, they've learned, like say for instance, right, the creatives, the photographers, when I was in uni, there was a whole unit, photography 101. You're told the rule of thirds, this, that, place the camera, the lights, all of those kind of things. I know my guys here think I didn't do that. I know a couple of things about cameras. But now here's all of that, it's been taken up, right? You know how, like, when you talk to photographers, like now paper photographers, how they take a photo and you have to wait to go to the studio. This is even that era before digital photography.
Right.
You had the whole film, process it, do this and that. There's a whole group of people who've learned that. And I feel for them when they're feeling threatened by this new thing that's come up. I could literally take a photo of you, Lisa, Maurice, right? Take it into the process, the AI processing photography thing, and pop.
That's
you get
it.
Yeah. So you can see the fear of what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who are feeling this thing is actually going to take my job.
I mean, change is difficult.
Yeah.
You know, change is difficult, and there's a lot of uncertainty. Like the example is just used of photography and the processing. You know, there's somebody who went to school to know how to process it.
Exactly.
To work in a dark room and process it through and all that.
Yeah.
And now it's on our phones. You know,
everything.
And it now removes the manual work. Now you become more. You learn more skills of how to make it better.
Yes.
And I'll share some examples as we discuss in terms of how I've seen people use it practically, and we also as Baraza we try to use it because what we also have learned is, like, especially for the continent Africa, there's a lot of chat around AI. But there's less use of AI. You know,
we're talking about it, but we're not
using it.
Implementing.
It's a very African thing. We like to do that. Now that I love how you've said it, right? A lot of chat, but we're not using it, right? So for sure, AI is not going anywhere, and African storytelling is not going anywhere. Hence the chat, right? So how is it that we can enhance our storytelling, our content creation as creatives, content creators, you know, using AI, because we have to just merge and use it to our advantage.
And I think, as Maurice mentioned when we were talking earlier, that if we accept that AI is not an end-all be-all, that it's literally just a tool to make us more efficient. I remember even we were discussing it at work, where if we're incorporating generative AI into our work, it's more of helping us be more efficient around the tasks that can be very repetitive or can take up a lot of your time. And now you can get to focus more on the creative side of your work, the more personal, the more unique side, right? I think creators are they're very justified to feel threatened by AI. Very true. But I think what we also need to recognize is there's a huge need for human expression and connection. There's certain things that, like he said, certain things that AI can't do because it's just a language model, right? It doesn't have the special nuances that you would have as a human being, the life you've lived, right? So and this also really applies to even writers as well, right? Your personal experiences really shape how you write, how you tell a story. So I think accepting that and being welcoming of that is step one. And then I also think, I'm sure we've been seeing what's been trending, is there's a need for advertisers to take a step back and realize that I understand it may be saving on time, on cost when you go the AI.
In agency, we used to call them suicide pitches. Everything was an emergency.
Yes.
Get me this now.
And AI gives you that result pretty quickly, right? Compared to like getting a team together that will do photography, there's makeup, there's all of that, right? So I think accepting that, if you do want it to feel personal, if you want, for example, your advertisements to be real and feel and have people to have a connection to them, there's still a need to work with the humans behind.
For sure. I love how you've put it. Now, if you're just locking in, we're having a conversation about what's next in media, right? So we've started with AI. Of course, we needed to start with something that's making a lot of people feel threatened. I've got Lisa and Maurice from Baraza Media Lab. Now, I want to get into content consumption habits. A lot happening in that sector, right? Things are different from how we used to watch TV back in the day. I think I'll use a very good example. WWE, right? We used to watch it on KBC. It's now available on Netflix live. Imagine they're about to do that. Yes. It's a major deal that they've just announced. Now, how are streaming services adapting to the diverse linguistic and cultural preferences of African audiences? Because I've seen so many platforms that are now doing a lot, pumping a lot of money into content creation and all. But is it still enough? You get?
I think it's not enough, and and this is not even scripted. Just listening to you ask the question. So most of the platforms right now are very westernized.
Yes.
We have few that are local, which is okay, but the market is big. The spending is lower. for these platforms. So they'll invest as a discovery. Just last week I saw that Amazon Prime is pulling out of Africa.
Yeah, so that very sad.
Or just after Netflix has come in and in a huge Showmax has come in, Spotify has come in. So there's this bit where you're seeing. There's almost like they're dipping their toe into the water to see, like, is there enough market? Is there enough attention?
Yeah.
I think part of it is also because there's also some political correctness that comes with it when, I'm in Africa, so we have not neglected the Africans too. So I think there's more that could be done in terms of just not coming in and pumping in money for local production, local content, but also truly being here for the long haul. And that will mean investing in talent, investing in even localized payment systems. For example, there are platforms that you still can't pay via M-Pesa, for example, in Kenya, which is ubiquitous. So there's that bit where you can see the platforms are trying, but there's still more to be done. But the joy about it is that it completely democratizes distribution. So you're not beholden to the initial distributors who are there in terms of, I have a content, I have a CD that I need to walk around radio stations, or I have a movie that I need to sell to this place. So it's almost democratized a little bit, which is good for content creators because they have options now.
I like the way you've said it, options. And I remember days when, you had to actually sell your CD. So even before the DVD era, the VCD, right? You had to go to Tao and just sell. Ukona ile CD ya nani? And now you see all of these various content creators just doing their shows live, also coming up with platforms where they're able to sell. Now, with all of that said, what are some of the challenges and opportunities? I like to have both sides of the coin, right? To local content creators, especially in this era of different OTT platforms, and how is it that they can best leverage on this for some sense of success?
I think OTT platforms definitely help you with reach, right? So you can reach audiences that you could never have imagined before, right?
Yes.
I think the challenge would be things like discoverability, like when there are that many, like if you're that many content creators, discoverability might be an issue.
Yes.
And also monetization, so it's making money from that, I think is also a major challenge. So I think when it comes to monetization, I think one thing that we've also seen with a lot of creators is diversifying the revenue sources. I can give an example. So yes, you have like your podcast, but you also do like these live podcast recordings that people pay tickets to attend. So that's one angle that doesn't necessarily rely on, let's say now, Spotify or these podcasting platforms.
I like that. One thing that we did, we made a mistake. We didn't say what OTT means. Over the top.
Over the top.
So for kuna mtu hapo najua ko pale.
What is OTT?
OTC. And these guys washaingia town.
Exactly.
Okay.
But like just to add on to like the point of discoverability definitely is a problem.
Yes.
But the other point is also monetization. Like you find most of the platforms, if you look even at TikTok, like social media platform, if you look let's go back to now Spotify.
Yes.
They do have like other functionalities in other jurisdictions that allow content creators to monetize on, like tip jars and all those kind of things. Like, and I've seen people try out here. Like, I don't know if they want me to call them out, but feel it. The guys in Jugush and the team, like people paying for content. The public can pay for their content.
I mean, myself as a content creator, I can definitely tell you this, and I've had conversations about it even this week. And I was saying, there's a strive for content creators to make money. I can see it, but from some of these platforms, no, it's not. It's not there. Like I'll use myself as an example. There's a platform that I'm on, right, and I've got millions of audio streams, but when I look at my jar, it says $38.
Wow!
And this is over a period of like years.
Gosh.
So you see, so that monetizing of content is definitely something that we need to tackle. Now, moving on, right? I was having a conversation and someone said, there's a podcast here, there, everywhere. Like there's a podcast for anything and everything, which I love, right? You know, diversity. And us guys as Africans, we love to tell our stories in every different way. Now, how is the rise of podcasting impacting local storytelling and, of course, traditions in Africa? Now, we could get into that in various ways, the positives and the negatives.
Yeah, go first or want me to?
You go ahead.
So first of all, the nuance and the beauty about podcasting is that, you know, you go deep on discussions. Like if it's, let's say, a 25 minutes podcast or a micro podcast for 7 minutes, or a long form like 1 hour or something, you are talking about one issue or a few issues and you're going really deep into your storytelling, you know. And there are various ways of how I've seen people do it. Either it's monologue or you have 4 people. So for me, the beauty about it is that it gives you the patience to really go deep on issues. It's not... in fashion, they call it this fast fashion and this slow fashion, right? The fast fashion is like you have people wear your clothes like mitumba, you know. Slow fashion is like vitenge, custom made, you know. So for me, podcast is like slow fashion. It's custom made. Like you go there, I want to listen about, let's say, cutlery, and you go deep on cutlery, you know.
Imagine.
Which so that's the beauty about it that I like. It brings out that storytelling element. It brings out the expertise that people have actually really out, and brings out like deep issues within that space that they're talking about. The challenge is that it's still very elitist as of now, and there are myriad factors of why it's still elitist. To be honest, if you do even ask our policymakers in terms of what are the opportunities, what are the challenges with podcasting in Kenya or in Africa, they still don't know. And that's okay, because policy is usually very slow, you know.
Hey, trust me.
But the thing is, like, it is an avenue that will allow us to reach more people if we only invested a bit more in it. By investing, I mean infrastructure, internet, because right now it's mostly that.
Yes.
And smartphones. So reduce the cost of smartphones and the cost of internet. Then have podcast platforms on the phones as part when you're buying your phone.
Yes.
Then you increase the listenership. The beauty about it from a content creator perspective, you have your numbers. You can see. You know, now it's not someone who has the monopoly of mass to tell you like this you're rich. You can tell you know, you have your data.
I love the data that you get from podcasting. You can't lie about it. It tells you, you know, listener retention from start to finish. You're able to tell where people falling off and all of that. So with that data, right, I want to get into, I still want to go back into that whole wealth creation, because for me as a content creator, I am asking, but I'm also listening over here, and I want to take out something off of that. Now, via all of the over the top platforms that we've said, right, are they viable on the continent? Are they, what's the missing link? Why is it that we still are not able to you know, like make money? Sasa kami, I've just said $38.
But I do love the word you've used, wealth creation.
Yes.
It's not money you can get, but wealth is different.
Wealth
is like,
it's
unachia
watoto.
Exactly. The generational. Because there's people who are generational wealth holders, content creators across the world.
Exactly. Like I'll use an example of Joe Rogan. His deal with Spotify, right?
For a long time.
100 million off of, you know, 100 million. Am I waking up tomorrow to come do the show? Of course I am.
You're motivated.
Very committed to that.
You know, you're secured your future. You're retiring at.
I had to say that because of my boss.
Got you.
To be honest, to be very, very honest. Not even Kenya alone. Africa as a whole is still a small market for these guys.
Yes.
I do think so. I think they make most of their money through advertising. Not even like maybe subscriptions from individuals. Although even from subscription point of view, there's so many people who have paid, you know, Spotify Premium, have paid Netflix, you know, and I think the market maybe for them is too small.
Yes.
So if you look at the economics of things, they will be like, okay, so should I go to London or should I come to Africa? Not even London is a city.
Yeah, London is a city.
It's a city, but Africa is a whole continent. But they're like, should I go
London,
to
London or Africa?
You know, like, and they look at it, and that's why I look at where even most of their regional headquarters are based out of.
Yemea.
Yes.
Africa is part of Yemea.
Exactly. So you're based out of London, Dublin, you know.
Or
SA. Because SA is, another different
South
beast.
Africa.
South Africa,
Yes.
So our that's why it's so difficult because Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa, West Africa, it's not really. It's an inconsequential market. So it's like a CSR.
For a state
it feels like CSR.
Yeah.
But that's why they'll not also invest in it, because they are commercial companies, right? And we can try to sugarcoat it and want to feel nice about it, but to be honest, they.
I want to mention some data, right? So I love the content creation space and all of the data that's in it. The other day, Netflix announced that, in terms of numbers, they've had this whole crackdown on passwords, right?
Yeah.
So their subscriptions shot up by about 13%.
Oh, wow.
So globally, they have about 250 million subscribers on Netflix. When you come to Spotify, as of this morning, I was actually checking, they have global, they have 573 million. People, and of that, a whole 361 million are ad supported. So it means 200 million are the people who are paying for that subscription, right? And how many of those are on the continent? Then you have apps like TikTok, right? TikTok has about 1 billion people on it, and it's projected to hit about 2 billion next year, and it's keeping on growing and growing, and they've got something called TikTok music that's on the way, right? And you've seen all of the issues yesterday, and you can see where the bulk of the money is going, right? The content creator on this side is still so I say all of that to say this: is Baraza Media Lab thinking of a platform that is by Africans, that understands this is how this market operates? When it comes to reaching out to the advertisers who are spending money, I can directly go to them. Like now you were mentioning Jugush, there's a whole partnership. I have a platform, here's your money, pap, everybody, and I know this is a CPM and all of that, because I can't operate on the same one for the US.
So if you look at how Baraza is formulated, it's basically to support platforms like that. And you mentioned Jugush and the Philip team. So one of the things that we've not talked about, and I'm sure when TTNT was being done, it was the comedy that Jugush did and did well. I think the show actually was first shot at Baraza. With a very small limited audience. Then the link was out there. I think the space that we provide is for people to experiment. And now I'm very happy that they are filling up like stages, they're doing tours. We don't want to claim that that was that, that's them.
I know you got to claim it.
That's their glory. I think what we did is the least we could do of just space. Just come. So and that's what Baraza does. So the other platforms you can talk about is by Semabox. Semabox is a production space run by Dana Seda. And now he's actually should I say he's launching a platform on at the festival. He has actually already launched Wazo. And Wazo is a platform that basically allows content creators to monetize from the onset. Still some bugs that is fixing here and there, but once it goes live, then that means that as a content creator you own your data. You not only data in terms of listenership, reach, but also finances, how much is coming in, how much is going to the platform. You can see it, and it's well calculated. Apart from that, there's a platform that we had supported also initially called Shahara. Shahara was by Catapult. That's Barack Bukusi. And later on supported by John Allen Namu and the Soul Generation. And the idea behind that is just like, there's YouTube. Where discoverability is a challenge. You go there when you know what you're looking for. You cannot just go there and say I want to watch Calvo. They'll be like, which Calvo? Exactly. So you have to. There are 50 million Calvos. But on Shahara, what is done is that there's easy discoverability, one, for your content, because it puts some money in terms of marketing, almost like what Netflix does, right? And does recommend based on that. But also, people can pay you directly. So instead of waiting for, let's say, advertisers, as a subscriber, or not even a subscriber, as I want to watch this video, I'll pay 3 shillings. And it'll go as low as 5, 3, 10, 100 shillings. And you'll pay to watch this video. And it's a one-time link that you cannot share. So you watch it, you finish, and you pay the 100 shillings. And it's very clear on the dashboard as Calvo, you can see 70 shillings has gone to me. 30 shillings has gone to the platform. Very clear. At the end of the month, this is the money, I can withdraw it. So yes, these platforms are out there. The imagination that we have as a people is there. The problem is, again, how do we finance it so that it can go bust?
Yes.
And some small teething problems. So I'll urge people to just check out those platforms. I think we also need to do better in terms of communicating about it to the audience.
We definitely do need to do that.
Yeah.
Now, shagana to everybody who's logging in. And I want to say a shout out to everybody who's in via the Zoom link. Yeah, I see a lot of people on it. I could mention the names. Yeah, I'll get on to the names and everyone who's on it. And of course, everyone else who's locking in via www.traceradio.co.ke. I want to take a quick musical break. Lazmani kunywe maji. You know what I'm saying? Then we come back once again. We're having a conversation about what's next in media. And I've got Lisa and Maurice with me. We're having a beautiful conversation. And of course, once again, this is going to be... this is the start as we get ready for the Africa Media Festival, which is happening later on this month.
Now have the people who are the audience now buying into the content.
Yes.
So they are no longer becoming the product. We're shifting the product to be the content. So the content meaning the quality of things that I'm producing, from leave alone the production, the audio and all that, but also the discussions that I'm having, are they enriching to me? So that these guys who are the product, the audience, now can buy. Because I think for me, the advertising model is broken because of course of internet and social media.
Yes.
But the thing that is not broken is content. That's the thing that we still have control of.
Yes.
So we'll, again, to my analogy of fast fashion and slow fashion, we'll stop having fast news and fast information where we get something and we share it. But the thing that will make us now to be more grounded and to have a bit more money is slow but very deep analysis. And I don't know if I can say an example of a local media house that I've seen recently have started doing like less. They're doing like long 7 months kind of stories, but they're going deep on that story.
Yes.
And that story will keep them alive. One story will keep them alive for a week, rather than before it was like 7 stories and you're always on the hamster wheel.
Yes.
But then it's not quality. So you're losing the people that you are the product. They are no longer caring about you. So that's how I look at how we need to change a mind shift of how we'll monetize. And the monetization will be the audience at some point. We all have to agree that the audience at some point have to pay.
Have to.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get to that paywall conversation. Now, you hear that information. That's why you need to be at the Africa Media Festival that's going down on the 21st and the 22nd of Feb. Go check them out. Now, what you need to do is most definitely go spend some time on the Baraza Media Lab handles so that you can get more information. This is for free, but Uyo Siku, they'll even be like a myriad of other different experts in everything, because this year we're tackling what's next in media. Now, as we conclude, right? And of course, to the listeners, the voices that you're hearing other than mine is Maurice Otieno. He's the executive director at Baraza Media Lab. And then Lisa Muchangi. She's the head of marketing and communication. 2 very brilliant and insightful people. Now, in terms of future trends and predictions in East Africa, 5G. Hey, your data here. Now, how might 5G technology impact media delivery in East Africa, particularly in remote areas?
Yeah.
That sounds like Nika KCPE.
You know, 5 marks.
5 marks.
Yeah.
You're just up on like...
Then Lisa
Pale
extra papers.
Oh, you know, like I need 5 papers.
You're like, what is this?
Yeah. Ooh, I mean, from what I've come to understand, I think, and I'll say the positive part. I'll let you go into whatever might be a challenge, the negative. I mean, it definitely will come to revolutionize how we of Africa Media Festival.
Yes.
We had a 2-day podcasting hackathon, and one of the things we're trying to address was accessibility in certain areas. How do we get there to promote, again, storytelling in Africa? So 5G will help with that, again, because it's going to enable faster streaming, faster downloads. So I think that would be the positive side of it.
I feel like, well, to throw myself into the answer as well.
Please do.
I happen to have visited Kitui County some months back, right? And I noticed that some of these counties have some small, like now, labs that are open to the youth, right? And I feel like they're not properly utilized. Like you see how you just said you had a hackathon, right? Wouldn't it be so phenomenal fantastic for you to have someone from Turkana
Exactly.
to come and say, okay, these are the actual issues that we're going through.
Yeah.
So all of these are there.
Yeah.
We just need to probably go to these counties,
those
to the
places.
government.
Yeah.
But you did say policy takes
Takes time.
Takes
Yeah.
time.
Takes time. Yeah.
Now, does Africa need a new generation of media, and what may it look like?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
They usually say what an old man sees while seated, a young man cannot see while
see
standing.
while above a tree.
Exactly.
Yeah, my grandpa
I
once
think it's-
said that.
Yeah, but I agree. Like there's a little bit of both that we kind of do need, but we also do have to recognize that the space is changing so fast that we cannot be stuck in our old ways, and also because people are afraid of change, they start becoming gatekeepers, where they don't want the incoming talent or new way of thinking to come in, so they guard their space, and they'll guard it through policies and we are well connected in terms of revenue to bring into this company. But I think we do need a little bit of both.
Yes.
But definitely with a country that, I don't know, the median age is now how many, 19 or 28?
Very youthful population.
You cannot
tech-savvy.
avoid it.
You can't.
It is either they call it by hook or crook, something like that.
100%.
Mtatoka. So I think it's something that is bound to happen. It's just how it happens is what that matters.
Yeah. Now, guys, thank you very, very much for coming through. I had one last question, but I feel like we already kind of tackled it, right? It was to do with, media houses and the revenue models that they need to adapt towards. You put it very well.
Yeah.
So how can guys be a part of the Africa Media Festival as we conclude? Because I know there's guys who've locked in today and they're like, that is happening?
Yeah.
How can I be a part of it? So there's the guys who obviously want to buy a ticket to come, and probably there's organizations that want to partner. How can they contact you guys?
Yeah, so you've mentioned the dates. So 21st and 22nd of this month will be at the National Museums of Kenya in Nairobi, and you can visit africamediafestival.com. There's information there on how to partner, how to exhibit, and also how to register. Yeah.
Brilliant. I like that. Maurice, are you going to be DJing on the day?
I will try. I will ask the DJ.
We slot you
if I
in
can
to the program.
Let's see. Guys, once again, appreciate it. Thank you for coming through. I feel like we've had a very, very insightful conversation this morning. I'm looking forward to Africa Media Festival. Like we said, 21st, 22nd of Feb. Cop your tickets nice and early. I feel like we've just opened the lead to that con, right?
Yes.
Because what's next in media, there's everybody who's got a different idea. So it's going to be a very good opportunity for people to come hear from someone who's done it in this way. Someone who said subscription works. Someone who says, no, give it to the masses. So all of these different kind of things. So come through. And of course, we're going to be posting up this video on our socials and on the Baraza Media Lab socials as well. So there you have it. You guys had fun?
Yeah,
Thank you so
for
much.
having us. Yeah,
Definitely. So next time we do it at your office.
Yes.
Come
You're
check.
welcome.
All right. I'm back on the radio tomorrow morning from 6 all the way up until 10. I've got some amazing guests tomorrow. I've got Iyanya all the way from Nigeria. I've got Uncle Jing Jong from the 254 who's going to be joining me. And I might just well have a guest DJ on the show tomorrow. Catch you tomorrow.